I do not know if this is a good profit craft this league. I only tried it at league start and it took me almost 1 week to sell 2 cluster jewels, and I decided to abandon this craft. But in previous leagues I used to make very consistently 20 to 30 thieves per hour profit just by crafting cluster jewels for spectral shield draw. These large cluster jewels need to be with 8 passives and increased attack damage while holding a shield. Here, if you look at this, these are the important combos, the most notable ones. Martial Prowess, Veteran Defender and Prodigious Defense. This in past leagues used to sell for about 6 to 7 divs. And then Feed the Fury, Fuel the Fight used to be about 4 to 4.5 divs, depending on, obviously, for example, if it was one with chaos resistance, such as this one, it would sell for much more, especially the one with Veteran Defender. Apparently this league, Feed the Fury, Fuel the Fight, is more expensive than Veteran Defender and Prodigious Defense, but in previous leagues these were more expensive. And then there was another good combo, which was Feed the Fury and Veteran Defender and Martial Prowess. In the past, this used to sell for about 3 divines, but you can see that this guy has it listed for 1 month and nobody is buying. Now this is, as I said, I'm not sure if you're going to make profit with this craft because nobody's playing Spectral Shield Throw. But in the past leagues when Spectral Shield Throw was a thing, this was a huge profit craft. Let's go over the crafting method. For materials, you're going to need Orbs of Alteration, Orb of Annulment, Exalted Orbs, Orb of Augmentation, Scourings, Recalls, and Transmutes. If you go to the Craft of Exile site and you look at Prodigious Defense, Veteran Defender, and Martial Prowess, you can see that the item level needs to be 1 to hit those notables. So what you can do, and what I did this league, was to buy a bunch of jewels that had 8 passives, attack damage while holding a shield, but the maximum item level was 49. You can see right here. So I bought a bunch of these jewels, but as I said at league start I only crafted 2 jewels to see if they are going to sell, and because nobody was playing Spectral Shield Throw, it took almost 1 week to sell these jewels, and I just didn't go any further with this craft. So I have a bunch of bases like this sitting in my stash. At league start I bought them for 1 to 2 chaos each, and I was hoping to make to craft jewels for Spectral Shield Throw, but nobody was playing, so that's unfortunate. You can see that these bases are quite expensive. 1 div, and then but at league start you can buy them for 1 chaos, and then if you want to go for Feed the Fury, Fuel the Fight, it's going to be minimum item level 50. And because you don't care about other notables, you can limit it to be below 68. You can see, because 68 will add a Vicious Skewering, will add the Devastator, and also Gladiator's Fortitude and Riot Queller. So you can limit this to 67. So you can try buying these, because look at them, there are a few for like 30 to 15 chaos, and maybe you can try to craft a few with Feed the Fury, Fuel the Fight, and Martial Prowess. Anyway, if you are crafting in bulk, you're not going to have a bunch of these bases unless you buy them like I did at league start. So you are eventually going to be forced to buy bases that are below item level 84, because at item level 84 it adds more suffixes and more prefixes right here. In the past few leagues this was not an issue. By buying bases below item level 84 it was not an issue, because people needed these cluster jewels, and there was still profit to be made. And also there were many jewels that would sell for, like, for example, you'd have Feed the Fury, Martial Prowess with a random notable such as Devastator or Drive the Destruction or any other notable apart from the important ones. And people would pay like 2 divines, maybe 1 divine, maybe 150 kills, maybe 100 kills for those spaces, right? But I'm not sure if you can apply this method, at least this league, because as I said, tried it at league start, took almost 1 week for 2 cluster jewels to sell, gave up on the craft. But in other leagues, this was like very consistently 25-30 divs per hour. So let's cover how you go about crafting these. If you have bases below item level 67, item level 67 or below, then you want to either hit Feed the Fury, Fuel the Fight, and Martial Prowess, or Veteran Defender with Prodigious Defense and Martial Prowess, and then you'd sell the jewel. But right now it's too late to buy those bases, and you are stuck with bases that are going to be usually item level 83. So you would go and you would hit, for example, Veteran Defender, Martial Prowess, and maybe you have Fuel the Fight. And you would put these cluster jewels into a 2 div tab, for example. And then 1 or 2 days later, you lower it to 1 div. And then you lower it to 150 kills, then to 100 kills. And this is how you would make your money back. This is usually how this goes. So in upcoming leagues, if Spectral Shield Throw is it's a thing, this is how you craft these jewels. As I said, in Crucible, 20 divs profit per hour, pretty consistent. Trial of Ancestors, I didn't bother trying this craft apart from league start, and it was awful. So here's how you do this craft. You're going to spam Orb of Alteration, and you are interested in getting Feed the Fury, Fuel the Fight, Veteran Defender, and Prodigious Defense, right? The moment you get one of these, you're going to use an Orb of Augmentation, and you're also going to use a Regal Orb. For example, if, let's just say that you only get Feed the Fury with a random suffix, for example. So let's just say that your jewel looks like this. It has Feed the Fury with, I think it's better to show it in the emulator. Create new item, cluster jewel. So let's just say that you spam alterations and your item looks like this. At this point you would use an Orb of Augmentation, and then you would use a Regal Orb in the hopes that it gives you Martial Prowess or Veteran Defender, for example. At this point, if it's worth, you would use an Exalt. Now this is a bad combo. This is a bad combo. You saw that there was a jewel with Feed the Fury, Veteran Defender, and Martial Prowess listed for 5 divs 1 month ago. But in other leagues, you would even exalt from this combo because you would sell a jewel with these 3 notables for 3 divs. And you would hope to get Martial Prowess. So I'm going to show you. If I'm using an Exalted Orb, and I'm trying to hit Martial Prowess, and I also have one random suffix, it would be 1 in 25. And 25 Exalts is much cheaper than 3 divs that you would pay that you would usually get in other leagues to hit Martial Prowess. But when you are doing alteration spamming, you can also get, apart from Feed the Fury, so let's remove this, scour. So you can get Fit the Fury with martial prowess like this, and there is a chance when you wriggle, there's a chance for you to get the other one, which is Fuel the Fight or Veteran Defender. Now, if it gives you a prefix, you can no longer exalt because you need two notables. On a cluster jewels, you are allowed only two prefixes, and if it gives you a random prefix such as maximum life or small passive skills have increased effect, this one right here, you're not going to wriggle. For example, if you have martial prowess with a random prefix like this, you're not going to wriggle. And also if you have veteran defender, for example, with martial prowess, and you wriggle, right, and it gives you another prefix like this, you're not going to exalt again because you want an open prefix. And for example, if you have veteran defender and let's just say you get prodigious defense on a wriggle, so you have, let's make it blue so that you see better. So let's just say that you have prodigious defense, and then you have one of these suffixes, then you are going to wriggle, and when you are going to wriggle, you're going to get a veteran defender. At this point, you want to exalt because you have one suffix empty, and the suffix that you want is martial prowess, like this. Let's just put it item level 83, so it's even better. The chances are even better. And you can see that if the item level is 49, for example, it's much easier to hit the martial prowess. Anyway, let's just put 83 back. And at this point, you want to exalt, and if you don't get martial prowess, you want to annul. If it removes a suffix, then you exalt again, but if it removes a prefix, then you just scour the item. So it removed the suffix, then you exalt again, and you would repeat this process until you get martial prowess, right? And as I said, in the past, you would make quite easy. You would make 25-30 tips per hour with this strategy. And as I said, whenever you hit, for example, for the suffixes, it was almost always going to be martial prowess. Let's just say you have martial prowess, prodigious defense, and another a random notable. This jewel right here, I would not price check it. I would just drop it into a 2 div tab, and if it doesn't sell in one day, I will just lower the price to 1 div, and then I would lower the price to 150 kills, 100 kills, until I get rid of them. Let's show you how you craft this in game. So to craft this in game, you would place your jewels here. Now these are only going to hit veteran defender, prodigious defense, and martial prowess because they are limited by item level. They don't have item level 50. But ideally, this is how you would search for a good. This is how you would highlight the item. So you'd say prowess. Feed. Fuel. Where did I go? And you would have this regex, copy paste, Control C, Control C, and you just spam you spam alterations until the item highlights, then you would augment the item, and then you would wriggle if possible. But this one right here has a prefix that means I cannot wriggle this. So I would just obviously have much more, not just 2 jewels, have like 20-30 jewels. As I said, augment, then I would just wriggle. Fuel the fight, I would not wriggle. As I said, this is limited, it cannot roll Feed the Fury. But the reason why I would not wriggle is because it's too hard to hit Feed the Fury. If you look at the odds, you can see that Feed the Fury, it's half of Fuel the Fight or Prodigious Defense or Veteran Defender, and I would not wriggle for Feed the Fury to get it. So I have this jewel right here, right? Veteran Defender, Martial Prowess. I wriggle it, and unfortunately it gave me a prefix. At this point I would not bother using an Orb of Annulment. I would just scour it, and when you have this many jewels, this is how you so let's just say that you have like 20-30 jewels here. Here's how you make sure you scour the right ones. So you highlight every jewel, right? Spam alterations, highlight the jewels, use wriggles on the ones that are worth wriggling it. Then you'd type rare, then you'd scour the rare ones, right? But then you'd apply the regex once again, and then you would go over all the highlighted jewels and click alteration once, just once, because now you already eliminated the jewels that are not worth wriggling. For example, if a jewel has Feed the Fury with Smite the Weak or Martial Prowess with one of the bad prefixes, then you can no longer use a wriggle on them, right? And you just hit alteration only once on the jewels that are highlighted. Then you would type normal, you would use a transmute, and then you apply the regex and spam alterations once again until all the jewels are highlighted. Just hope that I get it here. And then you would once again look at them and pretty much wriggle the ones that are worth wriggling it. For example, this one is not good because it has Fuel the Fight. As I said, if you go above level 50, then you can go for Feed the Fury and Fuel the Fight. But I would not wriggle to get Feed the Fury because it's too difficult. And this one right here has Smite the Weak, Veteran Defender. I would just once again and I ran out of alterations. So you augment and then wriggle, and if it gives you 2 notables, you just exalt. And this is pretty much how you craft these jewels. As I said, I'm not sure just how profitable they are to craft, because I've tried them at League-Start, it didn't work for me. Eventually the jewels sold, but it was like 1 week later, and I didn't want to craft in bulk, right? But in other leagues, as I said, 25-30 jewels quite consistently profit. And for example, if you get a jewel with chaos resistance or other good suffixes such as to all elemental resistances 2% or 3% or increased attack speed 2%, these jewels tend to have a much higher value.